Have you just been promoted and now you have to manage your former peers and maybe even friends? This can feel like quite an awkward situation. But don't worry, because today I will share with you 6 tips that will help you make this transition a little bit easier and provide some guidance along the way. Hi, I'm Koopmann and I'm a leadership coach and an expert for team development. And I'm also a former engineer and senior leader in the manufacturing industry. On this channel, I regularly share my tips from my own experience as a leader, but also my work with hundreds of leaders and teams over the past 6 years. Managing former peers is something that happens to most leaders at the start of their leadership career. The most common first promotion into leadership happens when we become the team lead of the team that we were working in as an individual contributor before. So most of the clients that I work with go through this transition at some point in their career. And it can feel quite awkward. There can be many questions that you might have. How social can I be? Can I still go out for drinks on a Friday night? How do I make sure that I maintain my friendships while also having to provide negative feedback sometimes? It can also feel quite lonely because relationships change and suddenly you're not part of the group anymore. They will go to lunch without you. They will have conversations without you because suddenly the dynamic has changed and you are their leader. But don't worry, it's not all bad. There's also some amazing advantages of leading your former team because you know the tasks and the goals of the team, and you might already have some ideas for low-hanging fruit changes that you can do, things that will make an impact. You know the organization, you know the important people in your organization. So it's a very safe environment to start leadership and to start to practice how to become a good leader. But because there are many questions and because this transition is really common, I want to share with you 6 tips and strategies that are important for you to start to reflect on and implement as you embark on this transition. And I promise you it will make it much easier. Now, every case is unique, so it's really important that you reflect on your situation, your relationships, and then use these tips accordingly. Tip number 1 is to become clear on your role as a leader. Now that you're changing from an individual contributor to a leadership role, there is a change of expectations in your role. You are now not only responsible for your own performance and quality of your work, you're also now responsible for the work and the performance of everybody in the team. This also means that you will have to set goals, you will have to clarify expectations, and you will have to provide feedback, positive and negative constructive feedback. And your relationships will change. It's really important that you accept that because you can still maintain friendships, but at work, you really have to establish with every person how your working relationship will look like. Because if you treat it like the friendship before, it will make it really hard for you to fulfill the role and the responsibilities as a leader. What helps you also is to start to reflect on your values as a leader, because your values become your guiding compass. And at the start, you might be trying out certain things. You might be testing out how it feels to go to lunch with your team, to go out for social drinks, and you might be doing a bit of a trial and error with your relationships. And it's really good to have an understanding about your values and the type of leader that you want to be, because then it can guide the way that you will show up, the way that you will communicate, and the way that you will behave in front of your team members. If you need some help understanding your core leadership values, you can check out this video where I will guide you through an exercise to define your leadership values and also to define how this will impact your behaviors as a leader. So becoming clear on your role as a leader and the change in expectations and your values as a leader and how you want to show up, it will make it much easier for you to start to understand the transitions that you will have to make in order to fulfill this as a role. Tip number 2 is check your bias. Because you have been part of the team, there will be people on the team that you feel really close with. There might even be people that you consider your friends. You will trust them really well, you will spend a lot of time with them, and you will naturally feel quite good when you are with them. But then there might also be people that you don't really get along with, that maybe you don't like or you find irritating, or maybe just people that you feel indifferent about, that you just never spend time with and you just have never gotten to know. As an individual contributor, this is quite okay. It's quite normal that some people in the team feel closer than others, and it doesn't really impact the work that you do as much. But as a leader, it becomes really important to be aware of your different relationships, because there's something that's called unconscious bias. And our unconscious bias bias is naturally designed to protect us. It's kind of our filter system of how we engage with this world. And so unconsciously, we do tend to spend more time with the people that feel similar to us or that we feel really close with. And we will spend less time with people that we don't know as well. And this can have an impact on the way that you lead. Now, as a leader, it's really important that you do treat everyone fairly and that you provide equal opportunities for everyone in your team. But if unconsciously you spend more time with your friends and the people that you feel close with, chances are that you will give them updates earlier than everyone else, that you will give them exposure to certain things or certain situations ahead of everyone else. And even maybe you will give them different opportunities to work with you because you enjoy working with them, which is quite natural, but it will mean that they will have an unfair advantage over the people that you don't feel as close with. So as a leader, you have to be really aware of the different relationships you have to the different people in your team and really start to make a plan to invest in those relationships. Now, you don't need to become best friends with people that you're not naturally close with, but you have to figure out a way to build trust and to invest in this relationship and to be really, really intentional on how you spend your time and how you communicate so that everybody feels included and feels up to date and that everybody feels seen and appreciated in the team and you do not just create advantages just for your close-knit group. Tip number 3 is meet with everyone one-on-one before you start the role. This allows you to gain a feeling and an appreciation for where everybody is at. And if you do it before you start the role officially, you're also not yet in the position of being their leader. This meeting is really about understanding and listening to their perspectives. You want to start to understand where they are at, what are their ambitions, what are they expecting of their new leader. You really want to understand how they feel about this potential transition, what are their concerns, what is something that they're really excited about. And this is not yet the time for you to provide goals or set expectations of what you want them to do. It's more for you to really understand where they're at, and then you can start to share also how you want to approach this and how you want to manage this. Especially with your friends, for example, this is your chance to start to discuss and really talk about the elephant in the room. Talk about, hey, so now I'm going to be your boss, which means I will have to give you some feedback from time to time. How should we approach this? How should we make sure that this doesn't affect our friendship? How do we want to engage at work and in our personal life? You can define your individual strategies with each person on your team. Now, this is nothing I can give you a magic recipe because it depends on the type of relationship that you have. But it's important that you just openly talk about the elephant in the room because that will make it so much easier afterwards to really engage in these conversations that a leader has with their team members. Tip number 4 is pay extra attention to the people who also applied for this role. Chances are that there are some other people in the team that maybe have also applied for the role, or they weren't even asked or considered, but they would have really liked to. And for these people, it can be really tricky to come to terms with this decision. When I was promoted once to become a leader of a department, I remember that there were 3 people that had also applied for the role. And for them, it was really hard to come to terms with it because they had to manage their own disappointment. They went for the job, they were vulnerable, they put themselves out there, then they were not given the role. So they have to manage their own emotions around their frustrations and their disappointment. And then depending on the relationship they had with you before, they might also be quite skeptical. They might not trust you yet. And they might also be skeptical whether you can do the job that they wanted. And they might even think that they can do it better. This can happen. The important part here is that you give them time, but you do not leave them alone. You actually do invest in this relationship. You got to show up. It can be really hard because you might feel a bit rejected and you have to jump over your own shadow here and really start to invest in these conversations and openly discuss their ambitions and say, hi, I know you really wanted this role. I know you're really eager to get a promotion as well. Let's explore how I can support you. I want to be there for you and I want to support you to get where you want to go. What helped me back then was to really look at the strength of these individuals and start to really acknowledge and appreciate the strengths. Start to highlight where I see their strength and help them be more visible. I provided them opportunities to be seen, and we really worked on putting them in the best spot and the best position to be ready for another promotion that might come up somewhere else in the organization or even to become my successor. And once they felt that I saw them for their strengths and I was honestly authentically interested in their career and in their success, that's when they were able to start to trust me, and we worked really, really well together. And I was able to provide some opportunities for them beyond this promotion that they didn't get. Tip number 5 is tread lightly to establish your authority. Now, when we start a leadership role, we might feel a lot of pressure to showcase that we've got what it takes. It can sometimes even feel scary to become a leader for people that know us really well, right? Because they might also know our weaknesses. And this might create a little bit of self-doubt. And then we can have the tendency to think, okay, well, I now have to really prove super quickly that I've got what it takes, that I'm a good leader. So you might want to jump in with your agenda and make a lot of changes. But I would tread a bit lightly. I would start to listen to everyone, listen to their ideas and suggestions, and really start to work together on making changes. Start by making small changes and really make it a collaborative approach so that you can maintain the trust with them. It's a bit hard for your ego maybe to step back, but it's important that you do changes slowly so that you don't step on anybody's toes. Another point to really build your authority, it's not by, pressing in, putting pressure on the team suddenly and pretending that you've got it all figured out. You can actually build your authority by building trust. And you do that by being consistent in the way that you show up. Talk about your values. Talk about your strengths. Talk about the goals that you have for the team. And be consistent in starting to provide feedback. Don't let it slide for too long because you're scared to step on somebody's toes, because you're scared of ruining the relationships. If you've established the ground rules and the boundaries in your one-on-ones from the start, you should start to provide small bits of feedback every time you sit with the people in a one-on-one conversation. Because if you wait for too long, then it will be really hard to provide feedback to somebody that you're really close with. And tip number 6 is trial and error. You won't get it all right from the start. This is a tricky thing to navigate. It's potentially your first leadership role. So there's a lot of pressure and self-doubt that comes with that. But then also you have to manage former peers, maybe people that are really close to you, that are your friends, and it might feel difficult to suddenly be responsible for their performance. And then there also might be people that you don't like or they don't like you really well. So there could be tricky relationships to navigate. So this is not easy. There's no perfect recipe for how to engage with your team and what to do. You can still go out for social drinks. You can still have lunch with your team because it will strengthen your relationships and your team culture and your team feeling. Just be really aware of how you want to show up and you want to position yourself. There's more eyes on you now that you are a leader and you are a bit of a role model now. So don't take part in gossiping now. You maybe got away with it before. This is a no-go now. Absolutely no gossiping. Be really clear on how you show up so it connects to your leadership values. You want to make sure that you show up as the leader that you want to be. And this might mean that you have to make some changes to the way that you were engaging with the team before. And yes, this also will mean that you might lose a little bit of this group that you were part of because now the dynamic has shifted. That's okay. Trial and error. Do a few things. Decide what you want to try out in certain situation. Give it a go. If you feel like, ooh, this is getting too close or this is too far away, then make some changes. And give yourself permission to try it out and change your opinion. That's totally okay. And it's not all bad, right? Remember, you have lots of advantages of becoming a leader of a team that you worked with before. You can really make awesome changes because you have some ideas from before. You know the company and you can feel safe in your environment in the company. And this is a really, really great opportunity for you. So leverage this to make quick wins. And I wish you all the best for this exciting chapter in your life. If you have any further questions, make sure you comment below and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any further episodes.